Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the money man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative Eddy Kool. The Sports Bros Podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. We talking sports. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means? Nope, not AEW Dynamite, because that was Tuesday. It's time for your favorite sports podcast, none other than the Sports Bros Podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, you see one, you see two, and you see the third guy. Oh, he's back like bad breath in the morning, black snow. But enough of my incoherent rambling. I'm Eddy Kool, the head of creative. And of course, y'all know I cannot do this by myself. And not only do I have one, but I have two of the best coaches in the world. I feel like a good quarterback with his wide receiver duo back healthy, kind of like Chris Carter and Randy Moss. Except I guess Scottie D would be Brian Finneran and B-Live would be Randy Moss. But anyways, I'm going to keep going because I'm not making no kind of sense, none whatsoever. Introducing first, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? Let me go ahead and get this out of the way. When I say what's happening, especially when I say what happened, I got a couple catchphrases. What happened is that's one of my originals. WUHHAPND hashtag. I asked that question when there's a lot of nonsense that's going on in the world, especially the world of sports. ESPN, I'm talking to you right now. I see y'all brought up another whole new segment called "What Happened." We're gonna talk about that. I want my royalties. I want my check. I know you spelled it proper, but I know you listening. I know you out there listening, just stealing my ideas. I'm not here for it. And the next thing you know, you're going to have somebody singing on your show when they first introduce themselves, and we're definitely not going to have that. With that being said, go ahead and introduce the other guy. Go ahead and see what he's got for us. We missed you, bro.
Yeah, we missed him, and here he is. He is a college student extraordinaire, and he will master his midterms. He's going to kick ass in school. He will, always and forever. He is the pride of Waynesburg University in Washington, Pennsylvania. The one, the only, the money man, Scottie D.
Because it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. I'm a bigger baseball fan right now than I am a football fan. I'm tired of football season already.
Tired of
at least at the NFL level.
Okay.
I'll tell you why in a little bit.
Okay, well,
but
let you do that because I'm like, who are you rooting for?
Is the Ryder Cup coming up this week? Is that I've been away a little while. I was asleep the last couple.
Ryder Cup is gone. U.S. didn't show up again.
I missed that. I missed the Ryder Cup.
That was in Rome, and U.S. does not do well on foreign soil. It was not good at all. But I'm actually genuinely curious about why your interest in baseball season, knowing that your Yankees and your Buccos are sitting at home.
Well, just because I like baseball in general. It's fun to watch whenever you don't have a team involved. And the NFL, I still have a team that I kind of root for involved, yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, we all hurting right now. Here's the thing about your team as opposed to our team. Your team still has a glimmer of hope. Our team has zero. Just like
top of the order.
Top of the order. Anybody got a paper bag? Now I know how the Saints feel. And with that being said, as Scottie D alluded to it, let's go ahead and hop right into it. The top of the order. All right, let's get this thing started. Here it is, the top of the order. Fellas, NFL Week 5 is Week 5, right? I've been losing count, man, because all these games been starting to run together. This past week was NFL Week 5. A whole lot going on the field. several head scratches, several hells, and I saw it coming. So my question is this week, bros. What did we learn this week? Be Live, should we just ask Scottie D? Just go ahead and get this out the way right now.
Well, I'm gonna segue into Scottie D by just simply putting this. Well, you know what I learned today?
What'd you learn?
That bad teams can make mediocre quarterbacks look astounding.
Yeah.
Well, or maybe these dudes are actually really that good, because now all of a sudden, Jared Goff and Brock Purdy are in the MVP conversation because of the teams that they faced this past weekend. And what I also learned is that everybody out there in the world, I'm going to say this, I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to say this. Everybody, and I mean everybody, every single media pundit out there, every sports media face, 4-letter, 3-letter networks, all of the above, every single one of y'all that talk trash about Lamar Jackson and his new contract can kindly kiss the rear part of my tail, because it's not Lamar Jackson's fault. What I learned from this past week is that his wide receivers have 0 hands.
Oh my God.
I have never seen that many drops in my life. I mean, end zone, boom, zip, boom. Even sure-handed Mark Andrews, zip, zip. What is going on? Yo, like, it's one of those things, just almost looks like they're trying to make him look bad. He is putting the ball right in their hands. I mean, dropping them dimes, buckets, boom, and they dropped everything. I've never seen a team drop everything. Everything. To the fact that somehow, some way, in Scottie D's neck of the woods, the Steelers are in first place in their division. Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati. We had the Steelers dead last in that division. They somehow, some way, are first in their division. That shouldn't have happened. The Steelers shouldn't have won that game. Steelers are
terrible. The Ravens were celebrating Kadarius Toney Day in Pittsburgh, evidently.
Like, it was bad. I mean, Nelson Aguilar has been known to have the Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, and just, man, Mark Andrews dropped, Zay Flowers dropped. Man, oh my goodness, what was my dude's name? I had it and I lost it because I was so mad. I watched him drop 3 of them. Who is that?
Rashad Bateman?
That, oh Lord, I almost cussed for real. That dude. Oh my, like, I almost cussed for real when you said his name. He dropped everything. It was bad. The Ravens are much better than that, and I hope those receivers get some hands eventually, because Odell Beckham didn't do anything. He wasn't. The front office did what they were supposed to do when it came to the Baltimore Ravens. They did everything right. They surrounded them with decent wide receivers. Should have hands. They got weapons. They got the offensive coordinators calling the right calls. Lamar Jackson's putting the ball where it's supposed to be. The Ravens are much better than this, and they got to get it right. They got to get it right.
Scottie D, what
Lamar Jackson should be. Lamar Jackson should be in MVP conversation, but because of the Carolina Panthers and the Dallas Cowboys, Jared Goff and Brock Purdy are in the MVP conversation. Scottie D, tell us about how great Brock Purdy is.
Well, I was going to give you this. What have I learned after 5 weeks in the NFL season? One of the things I learned is that I think that the Miami Dolphins might be for real, and I wasn't 100% of that coming into the season. I wasn't buying into that. They look pretty darn good. And one of the reasons is, I think, because they have a young, offensive, innovative coach. Something that we don't have in Dallas. which brings me to another thing that I learned, and that is that Brock Purdy is for real. This kid is good. He's not just an average quarterback. And I had that question also coming into the year. I was like, well, there's some film on him now. There's a whole off season to prepare for this kid, which shows you again how nice it is to have an innovative coach, someone who knows how to develop a quarterback, because that's what's happening. He's developed this kid on the fly. But you're not going to do that if you don't have talent. And I'm a believer in this kid. He is cool under pressure. Now, this was supposed to be the biggest game of the year for him so far. This is supposed to be the vaunted Cowboys defense coming in. It's on Sunday night. It's under the lights. The whole country's watching, blah, blah, blah. And he just doesn't look like he's in that type of situation. He just delivers the mail. He just can't. Now, granted, his receivers were pretty wide open, but you heard Chris Collinsworth say it more than once, is that this kid processes information very quickly. He's able to read defenses and see what's coming and react to it very quickly. And that has never been the case with the guy that was in the huddle on the other side, the guy with the big money contract. And this is actually not something I learned about the Cowboys, because I didn't believe they were going to beat the 49ers. If you remember, I didn't believe that they were going to beat the Giants on opening night, because I thought that the coaching staff was not going to have the team prepared. It just ended up the Giants were that lousy. But this coaching staff for the Cowboys is not on the same level as the coaching staff of the 49ers. And there may not be many in football. I mean, this San Francisco 49 team looks like a team that could go to the Super Bowl and beat the Chiefs handily, just because of how physical they are. They're physical. They got weapons, and they have the most important element, a very good quarterback. And that's why I think Purdy's a really, really good quarterback. I've watched him in full games more than one time. You know, he's had a short career, so it's not like, it's not like an assumption like where I can say, I watched Tom Brady play. I watched him play every week for many, many years. I haven't had that opportunity with Purdy yet, but the few times I've watched him play an entire game, he looks the part of a really good quarterback. He throws with accuracy. He makes good reads. He's cool. He can scramble. I mean, how did this kid get all the way down to get drafted where he got drafted in a draft last year? It had quarterbacks at the top that weren't that desirable. That was the draft with Kenny Pickett was chosen in the first round, and then nobody again until the third round or fourth round when what's his name went to Tennessee, Malik Willis. Mm-hmm. I think that was like the quarterback draft. This kid didn't stand out coming into that class. That's incredible to me, because he looks so good. He looks like a veteran quarterback. He looks like a guy who belongs there. And Dak Prescott doesn't look like the guy opposite of Purdy that whenever the lights are the shining brightest, he's got the deer in headlights. He can't read defense. And McCarthy decided that Kellen Moore was the problem, and he's taking over the offense. And Kellen Moore and Herbert are out there lighting it up for the Chargers. So this is going to be it for the Cowboys. This is going to be the swan song for Mike McCarthy. I don't know how it's the swan song for Dak Prescott, because he's like a $60 million cap hit next year, $50 million, whatever it is. It's an enormous number. The only way to alleviate that number is to extend him. Now, how do you extend a guy who 7 years in the league proves he can never win a big game? It just never happens. It's not like you can say he wins some and lose some, or, oh man, whenever you play another good team, there's a good chance that your record's not going to be that great because they're also good. But he just never does it. It's never. It's not once in a while. It's never. He beat the Buccaneers last year in a playoff game, and they were an under 500 team. That's his signature win. It's more of the same in Dallas. This is not surprising. This isn't news. I'm not just learning that this formula is not good. We knew it, because did you see Sunday night before the game started on Sunday Night in America, whatever they do, the picks? The country, 70% of the country picked the 49ers to win that game. The other 30% had to have been all Cowboys fans, because everybody knows that the Cowboys are not going to thrive when it comes to big games and big situations. They might go beat the Texans, they might beat the Cardinals, or they might not, but they're just not going to win big games. And they've got a bunch of them coming up. because next week they're playing the Chargers on the road on Monday Night Football.
Mm.
Week after they get the Rams, then after that they get Philadelphia.
Mm.
It's not going to get easier for the Cowboys coming up. It's, I mean, it's just, how many times can you just say, oh, well, we're going to put some weapons around Dak and make things, we're going to alter the game plan for Dak. And you've changed now head coaches and offensive coordinators and wide receivers and running backs. Everybody around Dak has changed but Dak. And same old Cowboys.
Somebody said this to somebody said this, and I can't recall exactly who said it, but it almost fits. I think everybody forgot that Dak Prescott was a 4th round draft pick.
Yeah.
He wasn't hyped to start with, but something happened. Something changed at some point in time that made Dak and everybody around him believe that Dak was some elite quarterback.
What I'll tell you what happened. His rookie year, his rookie season. He had a good rookie season with an outstanding offensive line, and they ran Zeke, who was also a rookie, and there was a lot of play action passes opening things up. Well, then the film came out, and now you show, well, now Dak has to beat us. Did you notice that Zeke slowed down? So did Dak the last couple of years. And so what are they running right now? They're running this dink dunk offense, this Texas Coast offense, where McCarthy wants Dak to get rid of the ball real quickly. Well, what happens now? Everybody knows that. So you crowd the line of scrimmage and dare him to throw the ball and beat you. And he threw 3 picks on Sunday night.
Ugh.
It's almost like a team that I hold near and dear to my heart, and their offensive scheme right now, where screen, slant, bubble screen.
50-50 ball.
Both of my teams, I'm watching it from Clemson on the college side, and I'm watching it from Carolina. And we have young quarterbacks that they don't trust. And oh boy, remember I raved. I said, Panthers gonna win this division.
We thought.
Remember when I said, really? Remember when I said that?
But here's the thing. Our division is terrible. It was all we had to do was have a solid defense, and Bryce Young made the decisions that we thought he would be able to make. Bryce Young let the ball go for the love of humanity. You do not have 10 seconds in the pocket. I don't know why you think this is Alabama. I don't know why you think that defensive linemen aren't able to run a 4-4. Why are you holding on to the ball? Why are you trying to do all this dance and run out of the, don't have that time, bro.
You know, it's funny though. If you go look at the standings, there's only one division that has 3 teams that are over 500. It's the NFC South. The Buccaneers, Falcons, and Saints are all 3-2. It's on record-wise, it's the best division of football.
Yeah, and speaking of the NFC South, well, my turn to tell you about what we learned this week. Speaking of Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield is flying under the radar and having a great season because the Buccaneers are 3-1. And someone, I had a conversation with someone the other day about Baker Mayfield. They said, yeah, man, Baker Mayfield down there in Carolina tearing it up. I said, well, you know what? I said, Carolina right now is kind of like the Browns. People leave and do great things. Look at DJ Moore in the game he had Thursday night. Look at Christian McCaffrey and what he's doing in San Francisco. Look at Baker Mayfield and what he's doing in Tampa Bay. I'm like, are we the new Browns? Or are we the new Browns? Where people leave and become better than what they were. Another thing I learned is Bill Belichick, I don't know what his other position is. What is he, the director of player personnel or GM or something like that?
Something. He's something. That's all I got to say.
Let it go, baby. Your picker is broke, sir. It's just, I'll say it once and I'll say it again. I think they have single-handedly sabotaged the development of Mac Jones to the point where Rex Ryan is on national TV calling this man Pea Shooter Jones.
He's just not good. I don't think there's any development issues. He's just not good.
I'm gonna say this: players at times are victims to who is coaching them.
So if Mac Jones is in San Francisco instead of Brock Purdy, switch roles.
Thriving. I think the boy's
I
thriving.
think he'd be thriving.
I think
I
he's
think-
thriving.
You think the 49ers would be 5-0, and you think they would have been all the way? He would have gone 9-0. No,
Yeah.
no way.
And the
No
beat
way.
goes
No,
on.
no, no. And here's the thing. I don't discredit what Brock Purdy's doing. Brock Purdy he's that dude. But I think Mac Jones has that capability.
No.
And got freaking just
Captain Caveman and Beavis and Butthead creator Joe Judge over there.
Defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
As an OC with the developing quarterback. That was a disaster.
Yeah, he's definitely not had great guidance. I just don't think he's good anyway.
That's the thing about it. Like I've seen both sides of it, where you got a okay quarterback with a great coach and gets development. I think that's Jimmy G. But you now see that even we saw it Monday that he's serviceable.
Yeah.
But under the right scheme, Jimmy G was fantastic in San Fran. Tell me he wasn't. Jimmy G
he was good. He was good.
He was good
in San Fran, and now he's with the Raiders, and he's throwing a lot of picks. So which one is it? Is Jimmy G a okay quarterback in a good system, or is he a good quarterback in a terrible system?
Bill Belichick is the legend and the greatest coach of all time. His quarterback's got to be better than this. He picked him, and if you pick him, you develop him. And Bill Belichick, I've always argued, is just an average NFL coach. And everyone's, oh, you're crazy. And I said, well, he was under 500 with the Browns. He was there for 5 years. He was not doing that. He was okay with the Patriots till Brady came along. And then you have to give him credit because he did he drafted Brady. He got Brady. So that's credit to him. But without Brady, I've always contended he was just a run-of-the-mill coach.
I think some of his schemes were like madman-ish, like mad scientist, like, and then you see it actually execute, like, okay, well, what is this? Oh. And then, but when it doesn't work, you're like, what the heck was that? So,
well, great quarterbacks make you look good. I mean,
yeah,
and you don't have to point too far to find examples. If you look at Mike McCarthy, he's running a stale offense and he's looking rough in Dallas. And that same reason Aaron Rodgers run his butt out of Green Bay 5 years ago. And
he won the Super Bowl.
How good? I contend he won only one. And you could look at Drew Brees and Sean Payton. I mean, Sean Payton came in making fun of the Jets coordinator Hackett for doing a terrible job last year, and the Broncos looked less than stellar this year. And that's with broken down old Russell Wilson. So great quarterbacks make coaches look pretty great.
But I like that. I like that comparison because Russell Wilson with Pete Carroll, Super Bowl.
Defense.
Sean Payton with Drew Brees, Super Bowl. Sean Payton with Russell Wilson, mess.
Yeah.
Like which
Russell Wilson is no Drew Brees, my friend.
Daddy ain't.
Wow. See,
he's
no Drew Brees.
Daddy ain't.
Same height.
Just about, yeah. Daddy ain't. And speaking of Russell Wilson, have you guys seen Marshawn Lynch's interview on Club Shay Shay, where he was talking about how Pete Carroll treated Russell Wilson differently from everybody else, and that started the demise of the Seahawks. Like Russell had his own offers, and Beast Mode tried to reach back out to him, and pretty much, and all in all, and with Beast Mode's efforts, he pretty much said, you know what, I don't F with Pete Carroll, and I don't mess with Russell Wilson. And that's a damn shame when it's like that. And I think a lot of people said that's kind of what happened in Denver when Hackett was there. Russell had his own offers. He had this, he had that. Here's the thing about fellas. Peyton Manning ain't never act like that. Tom Brady ain't never act like that. Drew Brees ain't never act like that. You are short ass Russell Wilson. You always got to watch your back because rapper Future, he taking digs at you on songs and stuff like that. And you don't look like the same Russell you are.
But it maybe that some of that starting to show is like, because then again, to your credit, Scottie D, was Russell Wilson really that good, or was it the Legion of
No. Yes.
So I mean I'm with you on that one.
Marshawn Lynch. He had Marshawn Lynch. That sets up a lot of play action kind of stuff. That one year, everyone's like, let Russ cook. Let Russ cook. He cooked his way out of Seattle because he wasn't that good.
I don't know if Russell Wilson cooks with seasoning.
Yeah, he can't cook. He's not a good cook.
Yeah, he at this point he can't even turn the doggone stove on.
I never thought he was the level that other people did. I mean, he had some good seasons, but he was.
I look at it this way: in our dismay and our demise, my Panthers aren't paying somebody $50 million a year to be that bad. Y'all only paying Dak Prescott $40 million. We've got a rookie contract.
He's a rookie though. That's the thing. Maybe he gets better.
I don't see it. I don't see it because his ability to see over his offensive line. I said it before and I'll say it again. That's just troublesome. He has to get out of the pocket to make timely throws, and his internal clock is way off.
We should have got CJ Stroud.
Eddie, you said that in August. So
what?
That you wanted to see CJ Stroud instead of.
I wanted to see Will Levis. But I don't know.
No, you wanted Anthony Richardson.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. You said it.
I wanted Will Levis. I said I would like that. If I can't have Will Levis, Anthony Richardson still to me is wish.com Cam Newton. And we're seeing it right now because he is
early.
He's fragile. He hurt already twice.
At least
he is not going to make it to even remotely close to what Cam. He's just fragile. Style of play. He's a dynamic quarterback, but man, if you're not on the field, what good are you?
That is true. All right, fellas. Before we go into the college football segment of the program, what game are we looking forward to next week? What game is like? I got to check it out. So I'll go through the games real quick. So we got the Chiefs and Broncos Thursday night. Yawn.
Yeah. Sign me up for that one. Russell Wilson.
Then we have Ravens and Titans on Sunday. Be Live, we got the Panthers and the Dolphins. Oh boy. Then we have the Saints and the Texans, Commanders and the Falcons, Colts, Jaguars, Seahawks, Bengals, I'm sorry. Vikings, Bears, 49ers, Browns. Oh, they're going to be up here too. Patriots, Raiders, Lions, Buccaneers, Cardinals, Rams, Eagles, Jets, Giants, Bills, and the Monday night tilt itself, Cowboys and the Chargers.
Who's picking the game they want to see first?
I'm looking.
I'll tell you one that I'm looking forward to seeing here. And that is the Seattle Seahawks and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Because I, coming into the season, did not believe that Seattle was that good. And I believed that Cincinnati was really good. And Seattle's 3-1, Cincinnati's 2-3. This is kind of a measuring stick for me to see myself, because I still am of the belief that the Bengals win that division and they are the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC. That's still my contention. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just thinking, well, Cincinnati got off to a slow start last year. They have tendency to do that. And both of the last 2 years, Joe Burrow came in with an injury situation. Last year, I think he had his appendix out in August of last year and didn't get much time, didn't get a running start into the season. And this year, obviously, he had the calf thing. And this past week was his best game, and he said it's the best he's felt. So if he's able to overcome this calf thing, and I know that his offensive line is still not good, but with that calf, he has a little bit more mobility. I still think the Bengals are to be heard from this season. Even at 2-3, I still think that they're going to win that division and go into the playoffs. That's still my contention. Seattle, I do think, is probably better than I give them credit for because I think defensively they're a really good team. And Geno Smith is still playing quarterback, right?
Yeah, he's still there.
I thought it was a flukish season. I thought it was a flukish season last year. Just maybe he's a late bloomer, and they're working with what they got with him, and he's playing well. I'd like to see how that game pans out because at 2-3, I still like Cincinnati, and so do the odds makers. They're favored by I think 2 points or a small spread in that game. So that one I'm kind of circling just to see what's real and what's not between those two teams.
Eli, what say you?
I found one. I was looking. Yeah, I actually found one that is going to be intriguing just because we think they were going to be at this point this time of year. And all the talk is about San Francisco 49ers and the Eagles in the NFC. That's all the talk. They undefeated and all the things, this and that. But there are two teams that are right behind them that finally, because I've been talking about this team for a while, and finally the rest of the world is caught up. Man, you get the Detroit Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming up this week. Measuring stick, the best team in the North, the best team in the South. Who is going to emerge? Who's going to be that team that's going to be that third team in the NFC? And the way both teams are playing, hey, Detroit can do some damage. And so this is a measuring stick for them. And they go down to Tampa Bay and show Tampa Bay, hey, bro, y'all had a good start, but it's our time now. 4-1, 3-1. Somebody's going to get their second loss, and I'm looking forward to Detroit beating Tampa Bay because, I just don't like anybody in the NFC South, including my own team. So, all right, cool. I said it out loud. Eddy Kool, let's say you.
Be Live, I am going to say that very game too, the Lions and the Buccaneers. As I alluded to last week, that's one of the games that got flex scheduled. Good, because there's been some doozies as of late at 4:00 spot. It'll just be interesting to see what's going to happen. I mean, Detroit, they're on the road, and the thing about Detroit is Detroit don't give a damn. They'll beat you on the road. We already saw that in Arrowhead and Green Bay last year. They'll beat you at home. We saw that yesterday. So good teams win when it counts the most, no matter if it's home or away. And so I think that the Detroit Lions, they got a talented defense, and their offense get to clicking. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think he should be back because he missed yesterday's game. Got him on the fancy football. Well, hey man, I couldn't tell neither. And so they should have St. Brown back, and so and Jared Goff is just looking revamped, revitalized. I mean, maybe a change of scenery from LA did do him some good to go to Detroit. So yeah, Lions, that one. Scottie D, what's up?
You might be overlooking one under your nose there too, Eddy Kool, because the 49ers are coming to Cleveland. Ooh. Now, seemingly 49ers roll them, right? But is there going to be a little bit of a letdown for San Francisco because they were so hyped on this Cowboys game? And the Browns, with a pretty good defense, has an extra week to prepare to have them in their own yard. So that it will be interesting to see if maybe Cleveland rises to the occasion and gives San Fran some trouble there.
Because could this be the trap game?
Yeah, that type of thing. You just don't think anybody's going undefeated in the NFL. There's always a week you have a little bit of a slip week, where you're not as sharp. It happens to every team. And the 49ers and Eagles, I don't think they're playing each other until the first week of December. So that matchup is still a good ways off. So how does San Francisco get hyped for all these games? Well, everybody's going to be hyped for them. So Cleveland having 2 weeks of preparation. We'll see. Just something to keep your eye on.
We'll see. I'm glad you brought that to my attention, Scottie D. I forgot all about it. I don't know why. Let me see if I can tell my boss. But yeah, I can't come to work today or something came up. I got to leave the state real quick. Wink, wink, nod, nod. All right, and that about does it for the NFL talk and everything, so forth and so such. Fun conversation. Great having you back, Scottie D, as always. Coming up next, Be Live Top 5 and more. Stick stay right here on the Sports Bros Podcast. I said stick stay. ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, chickens, eagles, falcons, albatrosses, and people with halitosis. This is the Be Live Top 5.
You know what? I'm going to switch it up on you this week because college football is a mess.
Oof.
It's a hot mess.
Oof.
Really, nobody's really wanting to take the reins this year and be that dominant team that's going to take it all away. Georgia showed it this week but it was Kentucky. Kentucky they just can't quite get over that hump. They're a basketball school. Basketball schools were doing good until this past week, and we're going to get into that in just a little bit. So, I mean, my top 5 really didn't change. Only thing I did is I swapped out Texas for Oklahoma because that Red River rivalry was off the chain. If you didn't,
it was something else.
Game, you missed an instant classic. Wow, what a game. And man, shout out to Coach Venables, all roads lead to Dabo. He got them boys playing defense in Oklahoma. I love it. Them boys are flying around the ball. But that's my top 5 sits. 5, I've got Washington, 4, Oklahoma, 3, Ohio State, 2, Georgia. I still ain't convinced yet. Number 1 is Michigan. Georgia is it is what it is. Who are they actually playing? But yeah, I also want to feature the Be Live not top 5, and there's a reason why. Because we're going to talk about the number 1 most overrated team this past week. But let's get into it. My Be Live not top 5 is as follows. Number 5 comes in at Washington State. Washington State, you just can't lose outright to an unranked UCLA team. A basketball school. You can't do it. It's not feasible. Number 4, Southern California, USC, the real USC. I said what I said. I'm gonna need y'all to play just a little bit of defense, just a teens of defense, because y'all is not playing defense at all, and it's starting to show. I mean, Caleb Williams is that dude, but he's not.
Is he though?
Is he? Caleb Williams, I think he's one of those guys where his skill set does translate to the NFL. And that's where it's really going to shine. I think I see some Patrick Mahomes in him. So
I'm kind of doing the Scottie
D.
I'm kind of doing the Scottie D lean on that one.
Okay, all right. 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 y'all just standing against me. It's all right. But he ain't winning the Heisman this year.
No.
Number 3 when it comes to overrated, Kentucky. Yeah, Kentucky, you were undefeated. You talking big talk, had your chest all out, and said, "Oh yeah, we about to come to Georgia." And do no. What was it, 51-13?
And came into Georgia and got done. That's what happened.
Had people believing in Georgia again. I was like, well, dang, Georgia been playing suspect this year until they played y'all. Kentucky, you're a basketball school. Ty, my man Ty, when I tell you my boy Ty here in Fayetteville is a diehard. I mean, he can't stop talking about Kentucky. I haven't heard from him, so I might need to do a wellness check.
Yeah. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so I mean, actually, today is Wednesday. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Number 2, Notre Dame. Louisville? Louisville is 6-0. Louisville? Basketball school. Louisville? And that's what I'm saying. Notre Dame would have been number 1, but brother, you want to take a wild guess as to who is the most overrated team this week in college football? Any guess?
Ooh.
Scottie D, what do you have for us?
Miami Hurricanes?
Are you kidding me? What in the world? Not only do you lose to Georgia Tech basketball school, you lose in such spectacular fashion. Like Mario Cristobal, clean out your office. Because it is any other job, any other profession outside of the president of the United States, that you screw up this bad, you out of a job. You literally, that is like, that's like being a manager at a bank and leaving the lights on and leaving the doors unlocked when you leave.
I like that. I love it.
It kind of is, because he said, I think on Monday at the press conference, that the kneel down play is not something that they do. They don't practice it. And that's kind of like saying, I didn't shut the light off when I left because nobody trained me to do that. Like, how hard is it to set the format from the sideline? You say, hey, just kneel. You have to practice that. You need a formation for that. I mean, I know there is one, but on the spur of the moment, you couldn't have come up with that. It said, instead of handing it to anybody, just when you take the snap, go down, and the game's over.
Just fall. If you don't know how to hike the ball and fall, then just college.
A lot of teams use their backups to do that.
Like, you don't need reps. You don't. Like, you drew up a run play.
And have done that. They said they always do that, which, I can't say that I sit and watch the end of Miami Hurricane games, but they said that that's just what they do whenever it's time to win. They just don't do the kneel down.
He's the only dumbass in the history of the world, in the history of the sport of football, that's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. Oh, we got the game in hand. Run the ball. Kneel down. We don't practice that.
What made it worse is exactly what you said, Scottie D. It's the fact that he tried to make an excuse. There's no excuse for that. You made the wrong call. I mean, in a call, like, you just have to own it. You can't talk your way out of that BS. There's no way.
That's ridiculous.
Unbelievable. I was like, because see here, I didn't see it in real time. So the fact that I saw the last play of the game where Georgia Tech, that was a horrible defensive call, by the way. Horrible. You don't let anybody get behind you. How? What are you doing? What happened? Like, come on, man. I couldn't believe it. Like, I saw that play. I didn't even see the fact that they could have kneeled to win the game. I saw that play and I was like, Miami's overrated. And then when I saw what led to that, oh my Lord. Mario Cristobal, you had the entire world believing that you about to change the entire program. All roads lead to Dabo. Dan Radakovich, the athletic director for Miami, he came from Clemson, by the way, hired Mario Cristobal. Yay, bruh, what is going on? And Clemson's got a bye this coming week. And guess what? Who we play after this bye?
The Miami Needle Downs.
Man, I need Clemson to beat them by like 5 touchdowns, and anything else will be unacceptable. And we struggled against Wake Forest, a basketball school. Oh boy, Clemson was close to being on this list, by the way, but it was too much out there. It was way too much out there, especially Miami. Boy, I've never seen a blunder like that in my entire life. I've seen butt fumbles. I've seen all kinds of other.
Yeah, that was was as bad as it gets right there. That's.
I mean, I think that's the worst. Even like C Webb calling a timeout that didn't exist is close up there, but that was a kid in the spur of the moment. This was a grown man coach that doesn't know how to, that doesn't know. He
doesn't have a kneel down in his playbook.
Formation, doesn't know how to kneel, and he doesn't know prevent. Like that's three. He doesn't know victory formation. He doesn't know how to kneel. He could have called timeout. Had a timeout. Could have called a timeout. Like, hey, think about this, and then when the next play.
I just don't understand how. I used to tell my ex this years and years ago. She'd be like, I don't understand. I said, honey, there's some things in life that ain't just meant to be understood. And this is one of them. Because how do you, like, you call yourself well, I'm not going to, let me retract my statement. You are a coach. All right, you done pretty good in Oregon. And from my understanding, from what I've heard on a Talking Head show yesterday, this ain't the first time he done some mess like this. This ain't the first time so how many times you gonna be like, you know what? Let me be smart. Let me get this dub, and let me go to 6-0. And just sometimes you got to get the hell on and live to fight another day and go about your business. No, I want to be cute. I want to be sexy. I want to do dumb stuff. But cute and sexy and dumb stuff don't work for everybody. It just doesn't.
You reckon an entire season off of that bonehead play. Like, college football is not forgiving. It's very, very rarely forgiving. And this one right here, as opposed to being 6-0 and being highly ranked, they probably would have been, I'd say probably like
top 10,
12, 13, 14 going against North Carolina. And that could very well determine who goes to the ACC championship against Florida State. Like, that was that should have been a huge game. Now it's just like,
now I'd like to give a shout out to Carnegie Mellon. They beat Teal 80-22 this past week, and I know they're in Division III, but if you score 80, you should be in the top 10 in any division. They should be ranked in the NFC East for having scored 80 points, 80-22. Carnegie Mellon, the Tartans over the Teal Tomcats.
When we had our pre-production meeting, before we went on the air, you were just as dumbfounded as we were when it came to this Miami debacle. Like, you don't need that other extra stuff that you just want to add.
80-22. That's a big number for Carnegie Mellon. Let's give it up for them. That's a conference win too. It's a conference game.
What conference are they in, Scott?
The President's Athletic Conference, the PAC.
That's a real thing.
Division III.
Yeah. Scottie D, who did Waynesburg play this past weekend?
They had a bye week, so that's why my attention was on Carnegie Mellon and Teal.
Okay. Are they in the same conference as Waynesburg, or?
They are. Yeah, there's 11 teams in the conference, so every week somebody gets a bye week. But this week, well, I guess Teal must have thought it was their bye week as well because they allowed 80. 80 B-Live is very close to 100. It's very close.
I'm gonna ask this question: do you have eligibility to play on the football team there at Waynesburg?
Do you guys want to talk about some baseball?
Sure. I was gonna pepper it because we didn't have it on the list. But okay.
That was a fantastic finish for the Braves and Phillies on Monday night. It was a fantastic finish. I've never seen a game finish like that.
Which is more surprising? Orioles being down 2-0 to the Rangers, the Dodgers being down 2-0 to the Diamondbacks, or the Braves having to claw back to even up the series 1-1 against the Phillies.
Of those three, I would say the most surprising to me is the Dodgers because they are a playoff season team. And the Diamondbacks did not look as good in the second half of the season as they did in the first half of the season. The Orioles, as good as they are still kind of a young team. And the Texas Rangers are they're no slouches, obviously. I mean, they're there for a reason as well. But and the Phillies are, I mean, they beat the Braves a year ago and went to the World Series. So that's not no, I'm just to make the point. It's not a surprise that they were in the position. They're not going to back down from the Braves. I mean, the Braves, as good as they are, the Phillies are probably the one team in the National League. Well, I mean, they're all good at this point. Everybody's good at this point. But no, that it doesn't surprise me because the Braves lost a single game to a very stellar pitching performance, and it seemed to be equally as good in the second game until what was it, the seventh inning when d'Arnaud broke through with the home run. It kind of sparked
the d'Arnaud 2-run. The sixth innings where we finally got our first freaking hit. Oof. Yeah, we was no through 5 1/3, and then we got a hit, we got a run, then a 2-run home run from d'Arnaud, then a 2-run home run from Austin Riley. Oh my goodness! When I tell you, I was losing my mind. Man, what boy! And so I'm gonna throw this out here. Eddy Kool, what you find more surprising before we dive back into the Braves real quick?
Out of this whole baseball thing?
Yeah.
Let's see. I would have to say that Clayton Kershaw, he's still a bomb. No.
Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw.
They pieced him up early.
Yeah. Well, why is it every postseason for the last? He redeemed himself a few years ago. And then it's right back to the same Clayton Kershaw. Here comes the lights, here comes the pressure, there goes the ball going the other way, and the team scoring. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? I'm gonna need you not to be a bomb. I want to use that for somebody else and not him.
Man, it's crazy. But yeah, I'm watching this unfold, and this is one thing that baseball might need to reevaluate, because having that bye week doesn't work in baseball. Like, not only has none of the 4 teams that had a bye have won, all of them have taken an L. All of them, all 4 teams that had a bye have taken at least 1 loss, and 2 of them have lost twice. Like the Twin, was it? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, who had the bye?
The Astros.
Yeah, the Astros. They lost to the Twins 2 nights ago. The Braves lost it game 1. Like, this bye is, they got to reevaluate. But
there's no way to do it. There's no way to do it. It has to be done because you chose to expand the playoff field. So somebody has to sit. If you have 12 now, I mean, what are you going to do? Expand it even more? You don't have a lot of time in baseball to do this. I mean, it's already cold. It's cold up here, Eddy Kool.
It is.
I would honestly cut it back to just 1 game instead of a 3-game series.
No, absolutely not. They did the right thing by going to best of 3.
When it had 5 teams and 4 and 5 play that 1 game.
The 1 game is ridiculous. For 162 games, you get 1 game. It's not baseball.
So you'd rather add 3 games in a whole nother week on top of 162.
I think you have to have
the winning team
3-game
series. Playing 237 games. They're gonna be playing into January the way Scottie D wants it.
No, the way I want it is to shorten the regular season by 6 games.
Like Christmas.
I'd like to shorten the regular season by 6 games. I've said that before, right? But you're not going to do that because that's 6 games of revenue for 32 teams across the board. They're not going to do that. That's you just nobody does less. Nobody reduces
all the revenue they can get.
Yeah, all those empty seats in games 156 through 162 really is really putting them over the top, pulling them out of the red.
Yeah. You look on TV. You look on TV like, where's everybody? In school, at work. Hey, look, it's 1:30 on a Tuesday.
Oh man,
I can't wait till next year when the Pirates are in the World Series. I can't wait.
Yeah, you'd be waiting a long time. Michael Harris II, what an amazing catch!
What a catch! What a catch!
Bryce Harper, where the hell you think you was going? What are you doing? Why are you way past second base on that? Like you just thought it was over. You know, That was a rookie mistake, their guy. And he even said it during the post-game interview. He was like, yeah, I wasn't supposed to go past second base. But yeah, I thought it was clear over his head. And Michael Harris tracked that ball down. And Austin Riley even admitted that he's not supposed to be where he's standing, but he's over there screaming at the other guys like, hey, throw it to first. And he said that he ended up screaming and moving so much, he ended up being where he was at to be behind not only Ozzy Albies, but Arcia. Like, there's not supposed to be a third person behind the So it's just what a beautiful play.
It was fortunate. I gotta say, in Bryce Harper's offense, I get you can't go that far, but I get why he did it, because in such a big moment, you don't know if you hold up at third if the next guy's going to get you in. This is your chance. If that ball hits the fence and is fielded, he has a chance to score anyway because he was hustling. He was trying to score right off the bat. So in that case, it didn't work out for him. But if that thing hits off of Harris's glove and he picks it up, had Harper not done that, he would have been held at third and then maybe doesn't score. He's trying to tie this game up in a crucial situation. There's one out, right? Yeah, there's one out because that was double play at the end of the game. So he was going for it. So I'm not going to fault him too much for that, to be honest.
I got jokes for days.
You got to commend him for trying. Well, to our listeners, that was an impromptu baseball segment. Reason being because the choice of the voices, it looked a little low. But what we're going to do, we're going to go to a round of pepper. But next week, we're going to rerun the choices of the voices one more time. We're going to rerun it. We're going to run it back and get everybody involved. Make sure you're all paying attention, in the words of Reese and the Almighty Be Live. But coming up next, we got a round of... Should I give him the question? Yes.
So the question that we pose is to give us a memorable moment from baseball postseason that happened before a championship series. So it could be a recent wild card game or wild card series or opening round, division round. But prior to a championship World Series, give us a memorable moment.
And I got mine. It just happened. I'll pick something else.
That will be one, because that was a very memorable way for a game to end. But anyway, do the pepper thing, Eddie.
All right. A round of pepper. Now we can go to a round of pepper. Coming up next, right here on the Sports Bros.
80-22. 22. Wow.
You guys are wild.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
All right, you heard the woman. It's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell up out of here. But before we go, we got a round of pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of sort of not really here to engage, enlighten, educate, and entertain. With that being said, I'll go first. Hey, fellas, guess what? On this day in history, back in 1911, the first MVPs in Major League Baseball, Ty Cobb of the American League and Frank Schultz of the National League were named the inaugural MVPs. And guess what they won?
What? What did they win?
A car. They were giving out cars back in 1911. Yep. So now I don't think they just give out a trophy now, but back then they was giving out cars. And like B-Li said, you probably had to hand crank it. Over to you, Scottie D.
So I just wanted to mention this guy that was in the Pirates minor league system in the late 80s, early 90s as a first baseman, and just wasn't cutting it, just wasn't making an advance. So he started to mess around with a knuckleball and went on to become a pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, helped them to the postseason, and went on to win a couple World Series with the Boston Red Sox. And Tim Wakefield passed away last week at the age of, I believe he was 59 or 57 years old. And he was kind of looked at as one of the real good guys of the game and one of the real success stories. But I'll never forget that when he first came up with the Pirates and no one had ever heard of this guy and no one had really seen a legit knuckleball pitcher since the Negro Brothers had been around. And it was a very unique thing, a very cool thing. And very sad to hear the passing of Tim Wakefield, who always have a place in the hearts of the Bucco fans. Be Live, over to you.
Definitely R.I.P. Tim Wakefield and the knuckleballer. I've tried to get that was just something else. Well, we talked about it, and I'm going to talk about it some more because Mario Cristobal, not only did your loss affect yourself for being a dummy, my first pepper point, it not only did it affect your players, your football team that was undefeated in the eyes of the national highlight, probably could have also had ESPN game day for the Miami, North Carolina game, which would have been a pretty big deal. But now there's also people that were betting on the game because there was some long shot wagers and there was an uptick in parlays made up of big favorites, not to cover the spread, but just to win the game straight up. Everybody, I'm pretty sure if they looked on their little sheet, they saw Miami versus Georgia Tech, everybody and their grandmother picked Miami. Nobody picked Georgia Tech. There's a reason why. Because Georgia Tech is a basketball school. Miami, you're now back to being a basketball school. Because your days of 2001 and all those NFL Hall of Famers and all the things you had is a thing of the past to you. You're terrible. Mario Cristobal, you clean out your office. I'd have fired you yesterday. Eddy Kool, the ball.
Yeah, out of here like yesterday. Out, damn spot. You know what, fellas? My second pepper point is about Emmanuel Mosley. We all hate that injuries happen in football, but they tend to happen. So Emmanuel Mosley is going through it again as he tears his right ACL in his first game back from tearing his left ACL, right? So what happened was Mosley, per USA Today, Mosley was returning from left ACL tear he suffered last October in a game against the Carolina Panthers while playing with the San Francisco 49ers. He did not play in the season's first 4 games after undergoing a cleanup procedure on his left knee this summer and pulling his hamstring this September. So I forgot when it was. Okay, it says Mosley was hurt on the second snap of the game when he planted while following a Panthers wide receiver in coverage. All right. So here are the Lions. They're already down C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and now they're down another member of the secondary, Emmanuel Mosley. That sucks for him. My heart goes out to him because you know what? You want to play a season, you tear the ACL in one knee, come back from that, and you tear the ACL in the other knee. It's just a sad state of events, man. So get well soon, and yeah, man, take care of yourself. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right, so we got a big fight coming up in December as Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk will unify the heavyweight titles in Saudi Arabia. Actually, I believe they signed a 2-fight deal already. So we will finally, I mean, you know, these heavyweight champions, there's like a dozen belts, and this fight is going to be for all of them. So Tyson Fury and Usyk fighting for the undisputed heavyweight championship on December 23rd. The weird thing is, Fury already has a fight. He's fighting Francis Ngannou on October 28th. So how seriously taking that fight when he's already announcing a serious fight for the heavyweight titles in December? That's coming up. Francis Ngannou, former UFC heavyweight champion, against Tyson Fury. Fury actually planning to go through him like a hot knife through butter because he's signing on other fights already. And usually fighters take like 6-8 months after fights for a camp. Fury said, nah, I'm good, mate. Knock him out in October and go ahead and get me going again in December. So interesting to see Tyson Fury and Ngannou come up in just 2 weeks. Be live. Talk to me.
Tyson Fury's like, man, this is an exhibition match. I'm just getting that check. All right. My second pepper point, hashtag fantasy football problems. Wow. Over across the pond, there was a nice game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, ridiculous.
Jaguars beat the Bills 25-20. And Travis Etienne Jr., all roads lead to Dabo, had a nice showing, had over 100 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. He admitted after the game in his fantasy football league that he was playing against himself.
Wow.
So every time he scored a touchdown, he was like, "Ow!" He was costing his fantasy football team in the process. But man, oh man, you hate to see it, but you love it all at the same time. Fantasy football problems. Eddy Kool, the ball.
That's funny. You guys are like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm trying to set this roster up against myself. Like, what the hell's going on? Oh, I'm trying to beat myself. All right. Well, that being said, fellas, so anyway, let's wish a happy 61st birthday to Steve Young. All right. He's a Super Bowl. He played in the Super Bowl, multiple Pro Bowlers, NFL passing leader from 92 through 94, and then again in 98. He played for the 49ers. And Steve Young was born in Salt Lake City, Utah, and also had a stint. He had a stint in the USFL too, didn't he? Yeah, stint in the USFL.
Yeah.
And with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think he was a Birmingham Stallion.
He might have been. He might have been one of Uncle Max's boys. So, yeah.
Or LA Express. It might have been LA Express. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yep. Happy birthday to Steve Young. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right. And a happy time. I got to give a shout out to my alma mater, the Trinity Hillers, because on Friday night, the Trinity Hillers pulled maybe the biggest upset in the school's history, knocking off the first place undefeated Thomas Jefferson team that they were 0-17 against lifetime, and they were expected to get blown off the field. And everybody said, why you scheduled TJ for homecoming when they're that much better than us? And it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Trinity beat that team 23-6, dominated them all game long. So good win for the Trinity Hillers program, playoff bound potentially at this point, in a program that really needs a spark like that. So just want to congratulate our boys. Be Live, finish this up here.
All right, third and final pepper point. I'm going to go ahead and get to it. All right. The NBA missed an opportunity because the NBA is in preseason mode right now, a couple of games before the regular season starts, and they missed a prime opportunity for a sponsorship because between the San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder, it should have been dubbed the Oscar Mayer basketball game because you saw two dudes on this court that desperately need a sandwich. My third and final pepper point. Man, Victor Wembanyama and Colt Holmgren need a sandwich. Feed these dudes because all I saw was thick fingers and legs and phalanges and just no muscle. There was a time when Chet Holmgren dunked the ball and flexed with no muscles. Cut it out. Yo, what happened? Feed these dudes. We got to go. Eddy Kool, send us out of here.
Show them how to eat, Be Live.
Hey, we got to go, man. Shout out to Reece Jenkins. His comic is out today. Deuces R Wild is Kickstarter. And then closing, do something nice for yourself. If you can do something nice for someone else, they'll greatly appreciate it now more than ever. Hey, it's Eddy Kool here from the Sports Bros Podcast. Thank you for listening. And as always, continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just click the link in the description box and keep up with the Sports Bros Podcast. And once again, thanks for listening.